In this lesson, we'll cover building sections. So let's say you want to create a section view within your floor plan or for your building. Basically a slice within the building we'd like to see in 3D. First, let's go to a view where we can define that section line. So we'll start by looking at the entry level for floor 1, hence the view we currently see. Let's zoom in around the upper right portion of this actual floor plan. Let's say we want to make a section view or a building section cut through the upper right portion, looking to the right. So to create the section, let's go to the View tab on your ribbon, and in the Create panel, click Section. Now when you do that, the first thing to check is the property area on the left. Click the drop down and choose Building Section. Now we're ready to start to apply our building section. So I'm going to click a point below the upper wing or floor, and then start to drag my mouse up. Now after I click the first point, I see my section mark. Once I drag out beyond the end, I'll click again. This places the actual section. Now currently the section is looking to the left. If that's not what you want, you have a directional arrow that you can flip the section direction. So if I click on the directional arrow, that flips the actual direction of the section. Now the dashed line that I see is the depth of view, how much information you see or how far back into that section. And you can drag that by reducing that depth of the section. You can also enter this numerically in the properties area on the left for the section. Now the section mark can be cycled or rotated. That's what the little rotate command will do for the section. So if I click on that circular rotate icon, it'll cycle through different layouts for that end of the actual section. You can do the same thing on the other end, cycling through the section mark to the tail to no mark. Now let's look at the properties on the left for this section. I can see the properties are currently set for the section building section. If you scroll down, I'll see the name is Section 1. Scrolling down farther, I can see I have a crop view which is set based on my dashed region that I applied. There's also the far clip offset based on how I move the dashed line to reduce the amount of clipping or depth of the actual cropped area. Now to get to this section, you can navigate in a couple different ways. In the project browser in the lower left, you can simply scroll down to building sections and then select a section, or you can click on the section line, right click, and then choose Go to View. This will bring up that section view. Now this is the building section, so I'm looking basically at a cut through the building, looking east from floor to the highest level. Now you can adjust visually the crop box to see more or less within this view. For example, if I click the crop box and I do not want to see all the floors, I can simply drag the crop box down to only include the region or the area that I would like to see. Same thing if I don't want to include everything from right to left. I can bring in the crop box from the right to the left. Now, if you do not want to show the crop box, I can turn off the crop box by hiding the crop region using the icon on the ribbon at the bottom. And lastly, if I wanted to change the visibility graphics of the elements within the crop box, I could click the Visibility Graphics Edit button on the left in the property area and change the actual properties. Now, the only thing with that is you change it manually. A better solution may be to actually apply a template for the view, or in this case for the section. So if I actually look at the left, I can see various information for this section. One, it's giving me the scale, the actual name, the detail, and you do have your buttons for the visibility graphics and also for the graphic display. You have color as well and color schemes. You also have listed the discipline, and I can see it's a structural layout for the structural plan. But then when you get down to the identity data, you have view template, and right now there's no template applied to this, meaning it's pretty random and I may or may not know what is currently set within this view. So if you click None, I'm presented now with a variety of different types of templates I could apply to this view. Now, if I know this is a structural building section or just a structural section, I can select that. That will then apply all of these settings for a building section or structural section. So when I click OK, this section will now update in accordance to show or not show and also scale this section view based on that template. Now you can always go back in and override that to the visibility graphics for this view. But now, since we applied this template, I can see on the left, the view template is set to the structural section. And lastly, to show the view in the project browser, if I scroll down to my building sections, I can see now here is section 1 as it's highlighted, which we just created. So as a review, in this lesson, we discussed and looked at building sections. We started out by looking at a plan view, and then we defined a section line for our section. With the section line, we looked at adjusting the symbols for the section and also the crop or the depth of what we would see within the section. We then looked at the properties of the section on the left in the property area. We looked at the section name, the graphics settings, and also the actual discipline. From there, we went to the section view, and we modified elements within the section view. We modified the crop, turned the crop off, and again, we looked at the properties of the section. Lastly, we applied a view template to the view to control all of the visibility graphic settings based on the template.